Hello friends, it's Armstrong here from Other Miniatures, and today we're gonna be building a piece of terrain. Yeah? So I have this, you can see that I already started on painting, but I have this tanker, yeah, plastic crappy tanker. What I'm gonna do before I'm gonna start recording everything on the table, I'm just gonna paint it black and then dry brush it metallic, because I'm assuming that this slippery plastic, the black gonna be taking ages to actually apply, so I assume about 2-3 coats before I'm gonna be able to do metallics on it. Yeah, and then we're gonna get to building a piece of Gaslands terrain, you know, just something to obscure the line of sight and give us better chances, you know, and maybe, you know, this is gonna be counted as an explosive ram or something, so if something hit it, it explodes as well. Maybe, just, you know, ideas, yeah? Tell me if you like this kind of idea, you know, of incorporating, like, you know, cars into the terrain. I know that I already did that, but, you know, it's just... it's interesting, you know, when you think about this entire, you know, like if you think about abandoned highway cars, you know, like stuck in the ground, you know, maybe after a couple of years, you know, covering all of the dust and dirt and maybe vegetation, you know, if you are in the area where the vegetation do actually exists, and of course pieces of rubble, concrete, whatever, yeah. But we'll figure this one out. Just, you know, I need to find a suitable piece of plastic card to make it the base for it, and then we're gonna go and start building this up. Yep, this is going on the table and start with it. So this is finally dry, and it was a nightmare. I have to apply like 3 different layers of paint before even, you know, getting this on, and I'm afraid that if I'm gonna do too much to it, it's just gonna peel off. But I got the plastic card as a base, yeah, because I want to have as thin as possible base and as strong as possible. And we're gonna be placing this like that, yeah. And the original idea was only to put the tanker on and leave it, but I decided otherwise, and it's gonna be more complicated. So yeah, as you can see, I have a hot glue gun here, and, you know, a rough shape of this entire tanker. So we're gonna be trying to glue it. Of course, if it's gonna go, it just feels like a blob after blob. So I'm gonna just maybe... oh, it's holding. So what I'm gonna have to do right now is just gonna be filling up this, and then I'm gonna be back. So I don't want this side to be exposed, yeah, because of course the hot glue looks horrible. So I'm gonna make it buried up roughly to here. So that would be the reason for the system to be actually left in place, yeah, because you know that in Gasland universe fuel is life, so nobody would do a system unless there was something wrong. So what I have is this packing foam, yeah, like I got this I don't know, like from somewhere, yeah. What I'm gonna do is just break it apart. That's styrofoam, yep, and I think that that's gonna be probably enough, and we're gonna just glue it in here. So there we have the styrofoam applied, yeah. And what is the rest of the idea for this build? Yeah, it's already a nice obstructing piece of terrain, but we can make it nicer. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna grab this, yeah, and I'm gonna glue it in here, making a wall. And then I should have a second piece, which I actually cut to size, and we're gonna put one in here, which gonna create a booth, yeah. So I'm not even going back to super glue, I'm just going with the hot glue. I'm hoping for the best, especially when it is like retaining between the styrofoam and the cistern, so it's gonna be just holding in here without any issues. And then we have this as a retaining wall. Of course, I would need something to fill up the gap a little bit. Oh. So let me just grab some plastic card. Actually, I think that I have L shapes here as well. That's gonna be a better idea. Yep. So I have those L shapes profiles. They're just gonna stick one in here to give us the inside of this. Clippers, there we go. And again, I'm gonna just put a bit of hot glue inside, and then I'm gonna try to squeeze that L shape into it, and just to give me some better looking piece at the end of the day, although we don't gonna be able to see much from the inside anyway. So there we go, that L shape has been perfectly squeezed in there. Yeah, and now we have a couple of more things that I want to do with this. So I have this piece of pipe, and I just want to maybe lay it like that. Maybe not the piece of piping, maybe we're gonna go actually with just flat beam and just lay it like that. So it's gonna be to support our roofing. There we go. So I need 2 spots with the hot glue. This is a lazy build, so we are using excessive amount of hot glue instead of using super glue. So in here and in here. Yep, there we go. And now the last piece that I want to put is this Volkswagen, sorry, what I'm talking, Mini Morris. Yeah, it's gonna be the guy's ride. Yeah, and that one gonna be completely with no modifications. Of course, it's gonna be stationary on that piece. So I just gonna glue the wheels in place. And we're gonna just put it like that. So in here we have what more advanced people would call environmental storytelling. Yeah, we're gonna find a guy to actually sit inside, and the roof gonna be made out of a wet wipe. Yeah, I'm just waiting for this to dry off, and then I'm gonna drape it here, and we're gonna have a nice roof. Yeah, and there is a couple of more pieces that I want to apply, but I couldn't find the right size. I actually ran out of, not ran out, I don't know where I put my tiny fuel tanks. So as a little bit of a additive, we're gonna add a couple of those fuel tanks in here. Yeah. And what is the story? What I'm seeing in here is somebody found a abandoned tanker. Yeah, and because, you know, there was still fuel inside, he decided to open a fuel station. In this case, you know, the fuel station is just selling those canisters, so they're gonna be just spread all over the place. And again, no super glue, just hot glue. It's gonna help me with a lot of hassle. Yeah, and one standing in here, I know that he probably supposed to protect it better, but you know, if he's the local fuel dealer, nobody really gonna be messing with him. And he probably have the protection of the local gangsters or, you know, warlords or whatever already, so I don't really think that he would have to worry about protecting his goods from people who wants to steal it from him. Oh, the wisp's gonna be a nightmare. That's why I don't like the hot glue that much. Yeah, but we're gonna throw a couple in here and maybe one actually on the roof of his Mini. Yep, and now I need to wait for that cloth to dry out and find a driver for this piece of terrain. Well, the owner of this piece of terrain. Yeah, so I'll be back in a few minutes, and then we're gonna be doing, you know, filling up the gaps with sand, because basically I'm lazy and I like easy solutions. So, you know, PVA glue and sand gonna be the best option for this build. Well, not for the plastic itself, but for this mounds, you know, it's gonna help a lot. And of course, super glue and sand on the plastic would work best. There we go. So now what I have to do is undercoat everything in black or any other color, because I have those two sands in here. I have red and sandy color sands. So first I'm gonna undercoat everything, and then we're gonna go with the paint, with the glue, because if I'm gonna leave it as that and then glue everything into it and then paint, it's gonna be tearing, it's gonna be causing a lot of hassle for me. So first I'm gonna put undercoat on all of that, and then we're gonna go with the sand. Either or maybe both, depends, you know. Like this can go under the truck, you know, as a piece of rust falling off, and this can go everywhere, or I can mix and match. So now that I have this all, you know, well, most of it covered in black, and it is actually black paint mixed with glue, I'm hoping that it's gonna work miracles and keep everything stuck together and not really chipping and so on. But you know, like if I really want to have 100% sure that it's not gonna, you know, start chipping, I would probably have to go and put some sort of a putty on it. So let's just get this and start putting the sand on it, because sand gonna help the PVA glue to dry faster, as you know, it's just gonna take the moisture away. And sorry, my cat just decided again, you know, I'm recording, so my cat is meow 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 meow, like always, nothing new. Right, I have to shake it off and I'm gonna be right back. Now that everything is finally dry, I can actually go and start using a proper paint to get that sand done. So we're gonna start with one of those Technical Base XV88. I have this in my collection for years and I probably use it twice. So, you know, finally it's gonna go towards a good cause. And you know, after I painted that, you can see there are still some white spots in the terrain. So I'm just gonna go and fully just get that entire thing brown out. Then we have Korak stone. If that paint isn't dead yet, I'm gonna be using this to do the first highlight, and then we're gonna go with a bleach bone as a third, you know, the lightest dry brush on top of that. Yeah, but let me just get that all paint apply, yeah, and I'm gonna be back after it is dry. So yeah, I did went one step too far away. You know, I dry brushed without actually making a video about that. But I do think that you all know how to dry brush, and my bleach bone paint is dry as as bones, yeah. And yeah, I just managed to scoop out some of it, and we're just gonna do a final dry brush, which gonna be actually with a quite wet brush, yeah, on the surface of the sand. And you know, we try to, you know, keep some of these other colors just to have color variety in this entire terrain piece, because otherwise it's going to be boring as hell. Yeah, so as you can see, you know, with this extremely, you know, gunky paint, I'm just going through all of these things, and I don't care about those barrels because I'm gonna be painting them separately. Yeah, but you can see that this, with this kind of dry brush, it's only picking up the highest surfaces and still keeping a lot of that, you know, cracked stone behind. And let's try this again. And I think that that's it for the dry brushes. Yeah, now that canopy have to be addressed as well. So I have in here a hardened leather and a dark wood. They are two different browns, and I want to just patch it up with those browns. But you know, the thing is that this is actually very dark, and those paints don't like dark paint, dark undercoat. So let's try to just, yeah, that's gonna work. Give it a quick overcoat with this lighter color. Yeah, and I'm gonna do the same with the cisterns. Yeah, and I'm gonna leave it like that. And of course, to get those, all of those tanks, you know, picked up, I need to paint them white first, because I'm gonna be using contrast paints, well, equivalent of them, they are called speed paints, to get that, you know, nicely covered. Where is any of my nicer looking brushes? I'm actually very tempted in investing in the Artist Opus series, but you know, like buying paint brushes for my kind of painting for like 60 quids, 60 or 80 quids for a pack, it's painful. Yeah, so yeah, I will think about that, but you know, don't think that I'm gonna be thinking about that too much. You know, it's either gonna be, it's gonna happen or not. But I would like to actually get finally some nice brushes, because yeah, this what I'm using is usually quite a crap brushes. You know, I buy sets for less than tenner usually. And I would like to have a nice brushes for my what do you call it? For my miniature, for my Warhammer painting. Yeah, like Gaslands, you know, crap brush is a perfect brush for this game. Yeah, because you want everything to be a little bit on the gonky, you know, crappy side. But with, you know, when you go for the Warhammer or what do you call it, Necromunda, yeah, nicer brush would be nice, because yeah, it's just better tool for the job that you wanted to do it with it. So I'm just painting as well inside of the shed, because I'm gonna be putting some green on that shed, so we have some sort of other colors. Well, maybe green, maybe blue, maybe red. Yeah, some other colors than just browns in here, because we're gonna have the roof of the shack gonna be in browns, and the rest of this, you know, we would like to get some different colors than just, you know, browns. Yes. Oh yeah, I missed one canister, even though it was staring in my face. The normal thing. There we go. Next thing done. Now, I think that is dry enough, because it is a, what do you call it? Use my English today. It would be nice if it worked. 1 and 2. So you have 2 of them, and of course I don't remember which cup is for which paint, but whatever. Yeah, this is supposed to be kind of a mix of paints anyway. So I'm just grabbing some of this one, yeah, and just going partially, and then we're gonna grab this one. And this is actually much better color in my opinion for what I want to do with this. And just give it that. We're gonna this. So there we go. Oh, it picked up too much of the bleach bone. But that's okay. It's not like I'm going for a masterpiece. I'm going for something that's going to be usable as a terrain. So there we go. The roof of the shack is painted. Now, I wasn't ready for going so far. I was thinking that I have like next 15 steps to go. Okay, so now a green paint. No, that's blue. That's blue. Where are my greens? Like, you know what, guys? Whenever you need the right paint, it's not in your hands. Yep. Let me just grab a box of paints. Oh. There we go. We have orc skin, and what else do we have from greens? I think that we have something darker than orc skin somewhere. Oh yes, this abomination green. That's gonna be the one that I want for the canisters. Yeah, I think that one white paint gonna be, you know, somewhere at the edge of drying, so I don't really have to worry about that. And of course I took the orc skin instead of abomination skin green. So we have the abomination screen. This is of course, you know, speed paint from RV Painter. This is the first iteration when they still have problem with reactivation. Yeah, but you know, I'm not that picky. So there we go, one. And of course you're gonna notice that there is a lot of sand on those canisters, because when I was gluing I wasn't careful enough. So yes, they are all covered in sand. And again, for a piece of terrain, it really do not bother me in the slightest. It would bother me on the actual car, but on the terrain, nope. And then, yeah, I think that we're gonna paint shack red, just, you know, to make a different color choice. Alright, and the one on the roof. And you can see that I'm painting with a very, very crappy brush. Yeah, so we have the green done. And now, Fire Giant Orange sounds good. And that's for our shack. I'm actually painting this on my break at work, so yeah, I need to rush to fit within like 15 minutes. So that's the exterior. Now a little bit more on the interior. Actually, I'm thinking that this actually didn't got covered nicely, so let's add some. And then the interior. I'm assuming that you cannot see much on the interior because, you know, there is really not much. It is just empty shack. And we're gonna add some of that color in here as well to mix it in. And that actually can go over here to be a form of a weathering. Yeah, like a little bit of rust on this. Yep, I think that that's enough. And the only thing left to do is to add the minis. Of course I have to paint them first, but you know, I have no time, so I'm gonna be adding them straight away after they are fully painted. And of course I miss one wall of the canister. There we go. Yep, that's painting pretty much done. And here we go, the entire diorama finished. It's turned out better than I was expecting. You know, I didn't do much to the mini. It is a little bit scratched, a little bit dirtied up, and some paint tossed on it. But yeah, I actually like this. It is a little bit of extra terrain that I can always throw on the table if I ever gonna play the game. and with the minimum money investment, because you know the only things I really have to pay was those soldiers, well, that system technically as well, yeah, and of course 3D prints, yeah, and the mini. But you know, it's a nice piece of terrain for minimal, you know, price and time investment. Really, the most time I have to spend was on waiting for the paint to dry. Yeah, but if you like this video, please rate, comment, and subscribe, share with everyone who you know, and you know, that's it. Have a lovely day and take care. Bye.